Welcome to a demo of the Point of Sale Pro management system, ease of use, sales, and invoicing screen. This particular version we have open right now is the Liquor Store Pro management system. We have 18 different editions of the Point of Sale Pro management system with features that are unique to each industry. In the Liquor Store Pro, you have the ability to import liquor data file from the state to update your pricing every quarter when those prices come out. You can set them at state minimum. You can set them so that your 50 milliliters get increased by a 26% margin instead of a 17% margin. So you have a lot of flexibility in updating those prices. You also have the ability to print the shelf labels that go on the liquor shelf underneath the liquor bottles. On those shelf labels, there is a barcode which represents the state's item number. That allows you to then log into the state's ordering system. Simply go over to the shelf, scan the barcode, enter the quantity, and place your order with the state that way. This allows you to place an order with the state for your liquor in minutes that you're probably spending a couple hours once or twice a week to do now. First off, let's go right into the sales screen where we'll be processing transactions. Here I'm going to enter in my initials. This could be prompting me for my initials, my ID and password. I could have it so they scan a employee card, so a lot of different things that can be set up just by turning features on and off. So this first transaction is going to be a little slow because I'm going to go through a few things, but basically at this point I can just start scanning items. There's a pack of cigarettes. Here's a Bud Light single. And here's a root beer 12 ounce. Let's say on this next item someone was buying multiple of the same item. I could have a couple options. So if they're buying, I could do 5 asterisks and enter, and you can see down here it changed this to quantity 5. Now I scan my next item. It's going to show quantity 5 now at $3.49 for a total. I could have just clicked on this button and it'll prompt me for the quantity. Let's say we're going to do 3 and OK, and I'll scan my root beer, and now it shows 3 root beers 99 cents. 30 cents deposit, which is 10 cents each here in the state of Michigan, and for a total of $2.97 shows my bottle deposit down here. And so I can continue to scan items. If I scan an item that's not in the system, you will hear that response. I can click and cancel. I could click and cancel, and I could just do what was it, $1.79 grocery. Ring it up that way. So these buttons work just like you're used to with your cash register. Or I'll scan it again, and if I decide to add the item on the fly, this happens to be a bottled water, I'll put in the price, $1.49, whether it's taxable or not, what department I want this in. So let's just put this into the grocery department. I'll go right down here to grocery. There's no bottle deposit. I'm not going to be concerned with the vendor I get it from at this point, and click OK. We just added that item to the inventory file. I scan the item again. The bottled water is now in there at the price we designated. Alright, so let's cash out this transaction, and then we'll go through a faster transaction without all these stops. But before we do that, let me show you these buttons. So also I can program any of these buttons here. There's a total of 40 buttons. I can have 1,000 menus, so that's 40,000 buttons that can be on here. If you have a little deli, you sell pizza slices, I can set those up like this. I could also have it where I click the salad menu button, and then I can select which salad menu. I want a small antipasto, and they're getting a medium garden salad. Go click here to go back to the main menu. Same thing with the beverage menu. I can 12 ounce coffee, 16 ounce coffee, 12 ounce soda. Here, if you do rentals of beer, this is a quarter barrel. It's telling me before I can rent out that quarter barrel, I have to select a customer. So let's actually click on a button here. Let's type in Smith. Let's do Smith Joe here. We'll select Joe. If this wasn't the customer I wanted, I could just simply click on Add or Fast Add and add this customer under 5. But we will select this one. Now I have the customer selected. Now I can rent him this quarter barrel. Rentals, it's due back on 4/9/2018. You'll also notice that it charged a deposit of $10 on this barrel. Now let's say he wants to rent a tapper also. The $30 deposit on the tapper, and the coil box has a $75 deposit. Here's his total. If I go back to the main menu, now if I was to cash this out, I could click on this total button. Let's go through a couple options. I click on this total button. Here it's asking for their date of birth because there's beer on here. Minimum age required is 21. I could type in the date of birth. I could click on that they're over 27, or I could scan their driver's license and get the information off the driver's license, which will indicate their age. So now that I have a total here, I could type in, well, they gave me $300 cash and cash it out. I could have said that they paid with a credit card, put it in that way. But let's do this one as cash, and we'll come back and do some of those other ones. I will turn on the number of copies to 1, and we'll say let's print preview this invoice. Right now I have it defaulted to 0. You can have this to default to whatever number of copies you want. So we'll print this out. This is what this particular invoice will look like on your receipt printer. There's a variety of different options on how this can look. Also, it would obviously have your logo, your company name here. This is the contact person, Joe, and all the items that he purchased on here. That transaction is done, and it's ready to bring up the next transaction. So that was easy, but it was slow because I was showing you a few features. So in this case, we'll say, oh, they're just getting a pizza slice, they're getting a baby sub, they're buying a pack of cigarettes, and they're buying a, let's say, Febreze Original. Now if I wanted to cash this out and they were giving me exact change, I could just click the cash tendered button. If they gave me a $20 bill, I could do $20, cash tendered. Other than it stopping to ask me for their date of birth, in this case I'm just going to scan it, click they're over 27, that transaction is done. Ready for the next transaction. We'll do another quick transaction. In this case I'm going to put a beer on here, a Febreze, and let's say they bought 3 beers. So if you notice, the price of these beers are $1.49. Oops, I hit the Lysol. There's another $1.49. I happen to have a mix and match special where they buy 3 of them. They get 3 for $1.33. So they could have got a Bud Light single, a Miller Lite single, or whatever items I said were in that price scheme, and they would have all been priced at $1.33. This time I'm going to say it's credit card tendered. So if I click on this credit card tendered, if I had the credit card machine hooked up, again, they bought cigarettes on here, so they have to be over the age of 21. It would have just went out and prompted the credit card machine for the customer to enter their card, enter their PIN, get the signature. If the signature is required, the transaction was done. I don't currently have one hooked up, so in that case, I'm just going to select that this was a MasterCard. I would run it through my machine manually that wasn't hooked up to the computer, and once I got an approval, I would just go ahead and click select. If it got declined, I could still cancel and use another method of payment. So I'm going to go ahead and click select. Transaction's done. We're ready to move on to the next transaction. We'll do another transaction here. Let's put a root beer on there. And this on here, we'll go down to our food menu this time, and we'll say they want to get an eclair. Oh, eclair's not in here. I'll come back to that. A soup. And again, with this eclair, if I click on it again, we could have did the same thing based on my security level. If I had the security level, I could click add item and add this item right on the fly. Say they're getting a 3-foot sub, I can go back to the main menu, and if this is an EBT transaction, if you take EBT, I could have hit EBT tendered. Only $1.09 of this transaction is eligible for EBT. The rest is $43.86. How are they going to pay for that? Well, let's say they give me $50 cash. They're going to run it through an EBT, $50 cash. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And again, I don't have the terminal hooked up directly to this demo machine, so it's going to assume I'm doing these EBT transactions and credit card transactions through a separate machine that's not physically attached to the computer. And as it's verifying that the transaction was approved, I'm going to go ahead and say yes. It's going to give them change back 614 of the 50 gave me. That transaction is done, ready to move on to the next transaction. So you can see bringing up point of sale transactions is very easy. There's a lot of other features here I can show you. For example, if I go down here to this options button, list of available options, I can see down here I can click on customer history, or I could have typed in CH, which is the hotkey, or I could have programmed any one of these buttons to be customer history, just like this no sale. happens to be programmed for cash drawer open. So when I click on that no sale button, it'd be the same as if I clicked on options, went up here to cash drawer open, just to open the cash drawer. Anytime we open the cash drawer, or I edit a line, override a price, give a discount based on the employee security level, it keeps track of all this information in an edits and voids report, so that you as a business owner will be able to know who's doing what when you're not there and really help you to control what's going on when you are not there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on customer history, and you can see here I can see every transaction. This was the last transaction we just did, and as I scroll down to the next transaction, down here in the bottom it shows everything that was on it, shows me what the invoice total was, who the clerk was, the date and time it was ringing up, how they tendered it, MasterCard, Visa. This one shows they paid $1.09 EBT, $50 cash. I can see all my transactions for as long as I had back through here from the time you start using the system. If I need to reprint this invoice, or if I need to reprint this invoice from earlier, I click on that invoice, click on print selected invoice right here, or I could click print preview and then print selected invoice, and it's going to show it on the screen. Again, that's what that invoice would look like. And just tell me that that invoice was printed. This is a shorter invoice. Do the same thing here, print selected invoice. You'll be able to see the total invoice, how the layout looks with the information and how it was paid for. I could also, if I had email set up, I could click on email selected invoice and it would email that invoice to the customer. There's many options I can turn off and on just by checking or unchecking boxes. It could prompt me to email the invoice right at the time of transaction. Just depends on how you want to operate your business. Also, let's say I'm ringing some stuff up. Show was $7.80, let's do $7.89 grocery. And let's say somebody's doing a bottle refund. I can click on the bottle refund button, enter in, they brought back 60 cents worth of bottles. So now they're getting a bottle refund. It's going to show the deposit here. The total was $7.89, non-taxable grocery, minus a 60-cent bottle deposit. They owe us $7.29, and if they gave me a $10 bill, I could simply do $10 cash tendered right from this screen. The transaction is done. Very quick, very simple, easy to use and learn. There's a lot of things we can go into for more advanced users, but as far as your employees being able to ring up transactions quickly and easily, it's very simple. There's also one other thing I want to show you here. Under management utilities, I can come down and I can set this into, oops, clicked the wrong here, into training mode. I'm not sure if I have the training mode set up on here. Password. I'll set this station in training mode. I'm going to place it in training mode. Yes, it's going to copy my live data files. But what this allows me to do is, if I have a new employee, I can put in a workstation in training mode. They can ring up transactions, everything except do a credit card transaction. I won't allow them to do a credit card transactions in training mode. And they get completely familiar with the system so that when they start using it live with customers across the counter from them, it seems like an old friend instead of a stranger. You can see some other demos we're going to get posted on here for advanced purchase orders, reporting, many different things, so you guys can view them online. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.